This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. Welcome on into the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm Evan Thomason. I will be on your screen momentarily, but the big story of the day today is the cold. It has taken over. It is chilly out there. Even into 10:30. This is 10:30 a.m. now. Welcome into the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, it's the start of our episode. Temperatures still in the 40s. I don't remember the last time I've seen temperatures in the 40s live during this program. Usually we're talking about 70s on a very hot day. We're talking about 80s on a fairly cool day. We're talking about like 60s during this time, maybe upper 50s, but 40s. Oh, man. It is a chilly day, around the ArkLaTex. So, again, it's 46 in for Texarkana, 48 in Shreveport, 43 still in for Queen, and Idaho, 47 into Natchitoches. We did have a freeze warning this morning. Now, that has since expired here at this time, but it kind of goes to show you where we've been and where we're still going to be heading into tomorrow morning. Believe it or not, the freeze advisory hasn't been reissued by the National Weather Service. Yes, it still hasn't been reissued by the National Weather Service. Just had to double-check that because I haven't checked that in the last 30 minutes. But I'm expecting potentially another freeze warning here for tomorrow with more cold temperatures on the way for the start of your Tuesday morning, too. We'll have more on that here in just a moment. But, hey, let me introduce myself again a little more thoroughly to you. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason. Welcome on into the First Alert Weather Breakdown. It's tremendous to have you on here for the beginning of the work week here for Monday. Hey, it's great for me to be here on this Monday. Usually CJ is the one who's usually been here for Mondays and Tuesdays here for the First Alert Weather Breakdown. We're mixing up the schedule a little bit here for this week. This week, work week-wise, is a bit of an unusual schedule. I'll just go ahead and kind of state this out. The days of the week you will not see CJ at all, like as of working. His weekend this week is Monday and Thursday. Very strange. Essentially, we're moving around a bunch of missing a bunch of different pieces. CJ is always kind of the wild card here at work. Kind of works different shifts, especially when me or Matt is out. He'll be the guy to fill in completely on our shifts, mine in the morning or Matt in the evening. But his schedule, I must say, this week is completely wacky. You will see him on tomorrow. He will be on tomorrow's edition of First Alert Weather Breakdown. He'll be also on Wednesday. But I just want to say, he is I admire that man. He has a very mobile schedule. Flexible, that's for certain. Anyways, you're on Monday's edition, though, of First Alert Weather Breakdown. Thanks for joining me here for the day today. Again, my focus here for today is just going on the temperatures. This is not just an ArkLaTex issue. This is also an everybody issue. So we're going to be talking for an exclusive content here for the day today. We're going to be talking about our regional cold forecast. We're going into areas beyond the ArkLaTex, seeing how cold they are. I also, last minute, I also pulled up we haven't really done this too much on this podcast, but I pulled up a couple of live shots elsewhere around the United States dealing with this big cold blast. This is affecting most of the east half of the pretty much everybody east of the Mississippi River is who this is affecting. We even got some snow and some portions way up north outside of the ArkLaTex. That's not coming anywhere near here. But it just goes to show you kind of the sign of the times here with this kind of these cold temperatures that have worked their way into the ArkLaTex and into the east side, again, of the United States as a whole. So beyond that, we obviously always go over your local ArkLaTex forecast again in full. We are talking about a big warming trend coming on up. This is going to be just briefly here. The Arctical blast and the Arctical air is just going to be briefly here for essentially a day or two before returning kind of back to what we had last week. But I will say the one exception to that is that rain could be coming back in a number of days coming on forward. So look out for that. We will have the details about that in just a little bit. But let's get into the forecast first and foremost here for you. Again, welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown while I'm getting my graphics all set up and good to go and getting control of them again, I guess, so to speak. Real quick, here is a live look into downtown Shreveport. See how it's looking. It is looking good. It kind of masking. And when you look at beautiful sunshine and blue skies, you always think, oh, it's warm, especially with the conditions that have been around here recently. warm, sunny skies. But that is not the case at all for today. This is cold, sunny conditions. Chilly on the way out the door here across Shreveport and Texarkana. Again, no cloud cover, no rain to deal with at all here for the day. But, boy, those temperatures, chilly. 46 in for Texarkana, 48 for Shreveport, 47 for Natchitoches, 43 for Idabel, 45 into Magnolia. Highs today, 51 in for Broken Bow, 52 in Foreman, 54 in Texarkana. So, essentially, we're only finding that our temperatures are going to increase by another 10 degrees or so between now and this afternoon, which is kind of just a slow, gradual increase once we get a little later on into the day ahead here for the day today. So it's still chilly. It's still going to be jacket weather here for most of you heading on into the afternoon hours. I will say I did get a few comments on my Facebook post this morning about just telling about the chilly weather. Just a spare few comments that said, oh, this is heavy coat weather to you? Well, I didn't wear it. I just wore a T-shirt and shorts walking out the door. Well, good for you. I'm glad. Hey, this feels nice to me, but I still got to layer up in these kind of conditions a little bit, especially since we haven't felt these kind of temperatures get this low again in quite some time. 54 in Carthage, 53 in Marshall, 56 in Center, 54 in Shreveport, 54 also for Natchitoches, 51 for Minden and Homer. Tomorrow morning, one more morning that we're hanging on to the cold temperatures. I know I mentioned the warming trend. That's going to still be a present feature here throughout this entire work week once we get past today. But that's going to be after tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, still one more cold morning around the ArkLaTex in the upper 20s and lower 30s again. So whatever worked this morning, or what I should say, first and foremost, whatever worked for your attire this morning, do it again. If it didn't work this morning, you have a chance to redeem yourself, essentially. Because, again, temperatures are going to be pretty eerily similar heading out the door tomorrow morning is what they were essentially this morning. Again, and then the warm-up starts. It's going to mainly begin on Tuesday afternoon. Cold temperatures and the cold Arctic air blast is going to be out of here by then. And essentially what you're looking at here is kind of the reds and orange shades. That indicates anywhere on this map that kind of indicates for us, for example, on Tuesday afternoons, which since we're underneath the reds and oranges, it indicates to us that we have warmer than average temperatures expected for Tuesday afternoon, and that should continue. Look at this all the way through Friday here for the end of the work week. We have warm conditions still in place. Now, if you saw, the only change between that Tuesday and Friday graphic was you notice some colder air starting to filter back into the west side out to New Mexico, Colorado. This is going to come with a cold front that could cool us back on down heading into the long term beyond the weekend. That could be something that we deal with next week with cooler than average temperatures. But at least, I will say, for the long-term period here, for the most part, we're dealing with warmer conditions returning back to the ArkLaTex. They're talking about highs getting back up into the upper 70s and lower 80s starting on Wednesday. Again, that's just 2 days away. We increase the temperatures by a solid 25 degrees. Wow. Even then, highs pretty much stay that way. Lower 80s even in store, for Thursday, Friday, and also the weekend coming on up. Most of the weekend, at least, I think. Let's say especially Saturday. So that's the warming trend that progresses here after we have the cold Arctic air stuck with us, obviously, now. All right, so future track, let's go into that. Here for the day today, abundant sunshine, and for most of the short-term period, everything is nice and calm around here with the skies. Maybe a few passing clouds here for Wednesday, but that's really it, and none of that really shows us any chance of storms looming at all. You could take a look at our short-range future track all you want. Over the next 3 days, quite bland, but I will say long-range future track is trying to pick up on some things at the very tail end of this week. And unfortunately, that goes into the weekend. Watch out. Mainly, it looks like Sunday. Most of the future tracks are trying to agree that it looks like Sunday might be the day to carry the rain rather than Saturday. But as of right now, I could see either day of the weekend kind of having this big chance of scattered storms back in the ArkLaTex, essentially. But this is the first time we've had a major chance of storms in a week and a half. We've been, again, bone dry here for quite some time. So this is good for the drought, but unfortunately rain back on the doorstep here to potentially mix in with your plans here for this next upcoming weekend here for you ahead, about 6 days. So, again, the entire work week, bone dry. But once you get into this weekend, this will probably be our next major story beyond warming things up here over the next couple of days. Scattered storms are going to be likely. I really think a round is going to come on through here sometime over the weekend. That could potentially bring severe weather. That's not off the table. I can't mention any specifics at this time, mainly because it's still 5, 6, 7 days away. There's been hints that it could happen, but we'll see. And we'll let you know, again, a little closer to the time frame. And in the process, we'll also narrow down the timing of it itself. Now, the last thing I do want to mention is this little cool down. It will be a tiny cool down. I don't think this is going to be a big Arctic blast, which is what this past system coming through was. I think the temperature is going to drop, but I don't think they're going to drop as much here for the weekend. So essentially, here's how that looks. Highs, again, as we mentioned, are right around the 80-degree mark starting on Wednesday. That carries on all the way through Saturday. And then there's that round of storms coming on through. Again, not really sure about what the timing of it is exactly. But what we do know is that it'll contain a round of storms sometime. And the cool down comes in. We go from a high of 80 on Saturday down to highs potentially in the lower 70s for Sunday, maybe even cooling off into the 60s, it looks like, for the beginning of the following work week and the following Monday and Tuesday. But not down in the 50s or 40s for highs, for example. So there's that little cool down for you then. All right. So, full 7-day forecast now to pull everything together. Again, as we mentioned, two main stories. It's the warm-up, first and foremost, that happens into the second half of the work week, and then it's followed by the rain, which is coming in with the next cold front coming through for the weekend. So, highs go from 54, again, up to 79 just within 2 days. We haven't talked too much about the mornings. We did talk about tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, still bitter cold, but once you get into Wednesday, much more reasonable. Temperatures only down into the upper 40s, lower 50s. Still jacket weather here for the start of Wednesday, but definitely not very chilly, so to speak. And then temperatures, you'll be waking up to much more moderate upper 50s, lower 60s for the start of your morning, starting on Thursday, and that continues through Friday and also through both days of the weekend, too, which is when the rain starts to show up back at your doorstep. I really think we're going to increase those rain chances here for the weekend for one of those 2 days once we get closer to the day. As I said, I think a round of scattered storms is looking likely. Even the 12-day forecast is posing more rain heading into next work week. More consistent rain coming back into the region. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the way long-term future track. So things are looking wet here for the long-term period, even though we've been bone dry here over the past week and a half, so to speak. But still, next 5 days, don't have to worry about rain at all, and that includes us throughout this entire work week. So that'll be something to deal with later. Something later on the table to hang with. Anyways, all right, coming up next, we have a full look at your regional forecast. Those of you maybe traveling outside of the ArkLaTex or curious about family members. We'll see how cold other areas are and how they're dealing with it. And some areas that are maybe even getting snow. Not us. Don't, at least not with this system. But anyways, point is, we are good to go here for the moment. Have a what am I saying? Have a great day. Stay put. Again, we'll be back with a regional forecast here after this. Stay with us. Good morning, and welcome back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, thanks for those of you watching us on the KSLA.com stream or on the YouTube stream on our YouTube platform at youtube.com. Keep in mind, for those of you on the YouTube page, again, feel free to leave a comment or question if you have any at all. Hey, we love feedback, and also we love to make this an interactive experience. Props up to again, CJ also for doing that with his trivia segments that he does weekly. Not sure when he's doing that this week, but we'll see. Anyways, we need to get to the exclusive content here for the day today, which is kind of talking about how this cold has affected areas around us. Again, this has not been just an ArkLaTex thing. This has been an everybody thing all around the east half and central halves of the United States. Kind of the biggest cold push on through. And even though we didn't get any precipitation from this at all, that doesn't mean nobody got precipitation. Areas off to our north and east did, and those areas certainly got colder, got even more of a brunt force of Arctic air into those kind of regions. So I want to mention 2 or 3 graphics to kind of tailor into like a regional aspect of how this is played out in areas around us. So right now, temperatures around us for regional, again, it's 48 currently in Shreveport at this hour, but you can look off to our north, further up into Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, 30s. And even then, way up into Kansas City and St. Louis, for example, 30 and 31 up there. But I will say, again, just a little drive up I-30 from Texarkana, and you still have temperatures around 37 in Little Rock around this time. So even colder air just barely off to our north in for that region. Now, we'll say we have hints of some warming up of warmer air slowly coming into the region. If you look out towards Denver, Amarillo, some slightly warmer temperatures, even though they're farther north of the ArkLaTex, especially Denver, for example. This is the warmest city on this entire selection of cities that I have in front of you. So essentially, this warm air is going to slowly but surely circulate eastward and eventually come to the ArkLaTex here. And our warming trend here, at least locally, starts up again tomorrow afternoon. But some serious cold temperatures that have come down pretty much everywhere. Off to our north and certainly off to our east. I mean, even though you don't have recorded temperatures out towards here, it's 32 in Huntsville. That's what my head's blocking there. But essentially, this cold air going into the Appalachians, certainly, and well up into the northeast. You can see where my blue arrow is. Well up in those kind of areas with some bitter cold. So just how cold is it, for example? Well, let's get you out to a live shot, shall we? Here's a live look at Chicago. Obviously, Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. This is a live view taken up there. And this is obviously showing, you can see snow on the ground. So, obviously, some of the areas around precipitation are happening in other areas of the country from this cold front that has chugged on through. So, yes, first bit of snow here for most of our northern states from this system chugging on through, which has been quite impressive, I must say. Meanwhile, out in Pittsburgh, we found some few flakes on this camera here earlier. Obviously, not the snowy picture on the ground, especially looking kind of towards the park area and in the front before those skyscrapers. But very chilly. You can even look at some of the trees. They're either at or past their kind of fall foliage level, so to speak. In and around there. So it kind of goes to show you what other areas of the country are kind of getting from this big Arctic cold blast, so to speak. All right. Now, 2 other things I want to show you is, first of all, I want to go into the snow a little bit because this is a live look at our first alert Doppler radar. Obviously, as we just saw on the sky cams earlier, there really is not much here in the ArkLaTex at all, not just in terms of rain, but in terms of cloud cover. All right, so looking elsewhere, though, if I zoom out, you can see, yeah, all that is snow, by the way. That is snow even drizzling down into some areas of, look at that, that's northern Mississippi, excuse me. That's northern Mississippi and northern Alabama, also a little bit of northern Georgia getting in some little snow flurries, it looks like. This doesn't look like heavy snow at all. But again, this is the first system which has come through for areas way off to our east. Obviously, again, this is not impacting the ArkLaTex at all. This is continuing to move eastward, and this is not going to dip farther south than this, I don't think, for the snow level. But still very impressive regardless how cold this has gotten. Obviously, there's the rain side up in New York and in Boston, but tons of snow wrapping around areas like Toronto, Cleveland, Mostly areas around Kentucky, it looks like at this hour, and Tennessee. But the point is obviously way away from the ArkLaTex. But it's good first, again, little snow system throughout the ArkLaTex, or throughout most areas to our east. This is my last graphic I have to show you, is kind of us warming up. Not only is it the ArkLaTex warming up as well, but is many areas around here. We are projected to have our temperatures likely above average here for the next several days. That moves on into the weekend and into maybe early next week. We'll see about that. But essentially, we are all warming up together here over the next couple of days. So just a big Arctic cold blast, but certainly sign of the times. Eventually, those become a lot more frequent, a lot more continuous, and continuously keep us chilly, especially obviously heading into the months of December in January. But this is a little 1 to 2 day preview, especially here in the ArkLaTex, where just a little hint of some snow in there. There's still sorry, not snow, cold weather. Cold weather. That's what I meant to say. I gotta be careful about using the S word. No. Again, let me state this clearly. No snow here. None here. At least with the system that's coming through now. Okay, we're all good on that front. All right. Don't need that circulating around social media, because then that's when you run into trouble, essentially. But anyways, that was a full look at what I had today. Just kind of going over the whole facts of. I mean, we were hyping this up all last week. The big Arctic cold blast, which was hitting the ArkLaTex and hitting many areas around us. And very cool to see. First snow of the year for many areas off to our east. It's not for us. Not that we get much anyways, but we'll see. And we'll keep you first alert on how this coming winter goes. We'll see if we can get some snow. Obviously, anything can happen. Bourbon Street was filled with snow one day last year. So we'll see. We'll let you know. But obviously, that's much more likely, especially in the months of December, January, and maybe February. We'll see. But anyways, all right, let's look at that was your first look with a breakdown. CJ will be host again for tomorrow. Same time, same place, 10:30. He will be on here for your Tuesday episode. I will be back, I believe, on for Thursday. I should be the host of your Thursday and Friday episodes coming on up, but CJ will be your host for Tuesday and Wednesday coming on up. Hey, you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your Monday. Again, bundle up, or as I said earlier, don't bundle up for those of you who think you can brave out temperatures out in the 40s and 50s here for the rest of the day today. But keep in mind, again, tomorrow morning, upper 20s, lower 30s once more. So, chilly. Not just for you, but pets, cars, vehicles. Excuse me. Also pipes and plants, too. And I will not be surprised to see another freeze advisory. Not freeze advisory, excuse me. Freeze warning come back in play here for tomorrow morning, too. So we'll keep you first aware, first alert. Our next weather update on that will be on the noon show coming on up. I will be on that. I will see you then. But anyways, for the time being, have a great rest of your Monday. I will see you later. CJ will be with you again tomorrow for the first alert with a breakdown. Same time, same place. Be there. Be square. Most importantly, stay weather aware. Have a great rest of your Monday. Peace out.